A very good evening to you. I'm Sophia Cambridge with this Sunday, September 24th edition of the CBC Evening News. Of course, Dominica continues to top the news tonight, and we're hearing that doctors and nurses in that country will soon be receiving some much-needed assistance from Barbados. That's because the Barbados Defence Force will be sending medical personnel to the hurricane-ravaged country.
With over 60% of the island's hospital damaged and an overworked medical staff, the arrival of a Barbadian medical team could not come at a better time. According to member of the BDF's medical unit, Dr. Brian Charles, many doctors and nurses have worked for days without any relief.
Today we have a cadre of 4 nurses and 2 doctors going down to Dominica to relieve those doctors that are working down there. Hopefully can give them a chance. We will have some more nurses and more doctors going down on a weekly basis.
As security continues to be a concern, Dr. Charles says the BDF is also assisting in that respect.
This 3rd detachment from the Barbados Defence Force and from the security agencies include personnel from police, personnel from the regiment to assist in security. And security has become a concern really because persons are now desperate. There's no food and there's no water.
Meanwhile, in an exclusive interview, the head of the Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency, Ronald Jackson, says one of the main focuses in Dominica at the moment is creating road access.
Links between Portsmouth to Marigot, which is where you have the Melville Hall Airport, and the northbound road from Portsmouth to Capuchin is also open. Southbound from Rousseau to Soufriere is being attempted at this point in time, and that is going to allow for relief to also flow into a number of these communities and for persons to be able to get out.
Mr. Jackson says that as leader of one of SEDIMA's sub-regions, Barbados continues to offer its support to the organization and Dominica. Tristan Ward, CBC News.
Thank you, Tristan. And the Barbados National Union of Fisherfolk Organizations will be sending at least 7 vessels to Dominica to assist with the hurricane relief efforts. Barnufo President Vernell Nichols says the initiative has the full backing of SEDIMA and the Barbados Coast Guard. She notes that they're expected to leave on October 6th.
This year is no different. We know that we had a devastation in the 2 islands, and so we've decided that this year again we will participate in helping with the relief. We understand there has been a lot of damage, and the assistance to fishermen right now is very important.
And Ms. Nichols is encouraging Barbadians to donate and to help fill the ice boats ahead of their departure.
We were able to get some space in Building 3 at the Pelican Industrial Estate. So any person that are interested or want to have stuff take down to Dominica that did not get opportunity with other, other moving, whether plane, boat or whatever, this is an opportunity then for us. For them we have 7 boats and we have the capacity to carry the luggage that they would have. So we want to ask the public or any organizations, Red Cross, St. John Ambulance, Salvation Army, and the regular public, anybody that has stuff that they want to take down, they can bring them to us.
In other news now, government remains concerned about a serious shortage of customs officers. Finance Minister Chris Sinclair says between 2015 and 2017, about 30 customs officers retired from the service.
This is particularly the case since, as we know, the volumes and value of trade, as you have seen, through Barbados have increased times-fold, consistent with the growth and development of our economy and society over the years. Unfortunately, while we have seen a reasonable expansion in the civil establishment of the customs, that is, the persons working there, this has not been at a rate sufficient to match the sheer volume of work which has been coming through our ports of entry. In addition, it has been compounded by the fact that over the past 10 years or so, customs has seen a fairly sizable increase in the levels of retirements from the service.
And Minister Sinclair says it's also not been easy to fill the positions for what is understandably a very specialized job.
I am always advised that, for example, if we say 5 trained and experienced customs officers were to leave the department tomorrow, it is highly improbable, near impossible, for the PAD to find 5 persons in or outside the service with equal talent and experience to immediately fill those positions and eliminate any vacuum which may be created. This is because we simply do not have that type of talent sitting around waiting to be called up in the service.
Chief Fire Officer Errol Maynard is urging Barbadians tonight to exercise more care on the roads. This as the Barbados Fire Service has been called out to an increasing number of serious motor accidents for the year. Sharika Griffith has more.
There's been a reduction in the number of home and commercial fires so far this year. Chief Fire Officer Errol Maynard believes that's due in large part to the successful execution of fire prevention and education programs. But the fire chief has expressed concern about a rise in the number of calls to serious vehicle accidents.
As a matter of fact, we have seen a reduction in the over last year, a reduction in call to fires, and we have definitely seen an increase in calls to serious accidents. So it is a concern to us. We are asking persons or the public to take a little bit more care as they drive. Up to yesterday, we had one in Christchurch with 2 vehicles, in which persons were trapped, and the fire service had to deploy the jaws of life to extricate these individuals. So we're definitely appealing to the public of Barbados to drive to stay alive.
Mr. Maynard was speaking at a Thanksgiving service to celebrate the fire service's 62nd anniversary. During the service, which took place at the Messiah Street Wesleyan Holiness Church in St. John, Attorney General Adriel Brathwaite joined past and present fire officers to mark the occasion. The Attorney General, under whose portfolio the fire service falls as Minister of Home Affairs, told the officers present that he wished he could answer their calls for increased salaries and promotions.
I know that I cannot always give you everything that you require, but I think you all know that if I had it within me, I would give. If Minister Jen will have her way, we will have a reduction in taxes and an increased pay and promotions. May her prayers come to fruition.
During his sermon, Pastor Frederick Bennett encouraged the officers to be careful when performing their duties, which oftentimes put them in a position of danger. The church was presented with 4 smoke detectors by leading fire officer Wayne Vaughn. After the service, the officers did a march through the community, which was observed by the fire chief and the Attorney General. Sharika Griffith, CBC News.
Thanks, Sharika, for that report. News of a 4th term for German Chancellor Angela Merkel. We'll have that story and more just after the break.